Well, here we are on Calypso. Interior, bit messy for me, but kept nice and clean. Charlie and Dan left me some treats, important coffee, some wine, so all good stuff, and of course the really critical stuff. And these, which happen to be our favorites when we're sailing. It's like an advert. I'm not sponsored by these people, although I would be open to offers. So the interior, pretty good. Just needs a tidy up for me. That's my fault. The exterior is covered in about 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters of Sahara sand. So that's going to be a bit of a job tomorrow. But for now, it's 10:30 and I've been traveling since 10 this morning. Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going to hit the sack and I will take you along with me tomorrow when we clean, and don't slack on me. Firstly, let's clear something up. There's been a lot of talk amongst the paparazzi, that is my production crew, or should I say my daughters, my son, and my wife, that I wear the same shirt a couple times, several days in a row on several of the videos. That is because actually what I do is I take some of my lighter t-shirts and I will rinse them out, dry them in the sun, and then wear them the next day. So that it's not as disgusting as it might sound, and it's important to have lighter clothes, lighter colored clothes in the hot sun. So I just wanted to get that across. Well, I'm trying to put the Lazy Jacks on, the stack pack. Now the stack pack is the thing that you drop the sail into that runs along the boom. Let's try to get some more light on the subject, me. So Charlie and Dan, they rigged a protector, and that had to go over the sail, over the boom, which meant that they had to take down these Lazy Jacks. The Lazy Jacks are these lines that go up the mast, then down, and then hold the stack pack up so that you can drop the sail in it. So I need to put that back, but the little lines that they use, they're called mousing lines. I want to make sure it's really well connected to the Lazy Jack. So what I'm doing is using some whipping twine, which is just UV protected, really thick thread that's kind of woven. You use it when you whip or wrap the end of a line. Right. We need to take that, and using this whipping twine, connect it to this, our mousing line. After a hard day's work, I decided to make myself some American-style pancakes. There was only one small problem.
If you had to choose, if you were forced to make a choice, if there was no other response
If you're going to push me, I would choose the right-hand weevil. It has significant advantage in both length and breadth.
There, I have you. You're completely dished. Do you not know that in the service, one must always choose the lesser of two weevils?
Or, actually, there were a lot of small problems. Looks like salad for dinner. Tomorrow is my first shakedown sail of the 2021 season. I'm planning on sailing from Cartagena out to Matharon, which is south and west of here. It's about a 14-15 mile journey and shouldn't take me more than about 4 hours, even with light winds. I've treated the fuel, filled up the water tanks, cleaned the decks, re-rigged the running rigging, and washed down the sails a bit. I provisioned today, so I think we're ready. We're just going to do this little journey out and then journey back to Cartagena probably Sunday morning to Sunday afternoon. That's when the winds turn favorable coming from the southeast. Really, if the engine is working well and the sail drive is working well, I might just keep on going up around Mar Menor and then head toward Alicante, because that's essentially where I want my kickoff point or my jump off point to be when I sail to Ibiza. So leaving this berth single-handed is pretty tough. First I have to drop the forward mooring lines, which are made to sink out of the way. Then I drop the downwind aft line. Then I start motoring at low revs against the remaining aft line. I pop that off the cleat, as you see me do there, and out I go. But this berth is a real devil to leave, as any easterly wind pushes me right onto the concrete just to starboard as I leave the protection of the boats on either side of me. Oh, and I have no bow thruster, of course. That was me blowing kisses at the dog on the catamaran in the next berth. When leaving, I usually put on the autopilot, as you can see me doing here, finally. Then I need to check that we're getting plenty of cooling water out of the engine. Okay, check. Then I go forward to bring in the fenders. And finally, I check for any lines that need to be tidied up and brought back into the cockpit, because the last thing I want is a line getting wrapped in the prop. And then, of course, the most important thing, coffee. I didn't know at this point that this was going to be my last time leaving the beautiful port of Cartagena. Bit of a spoiler there, sorry. Many thanks to all the fantastic people at YPC. Well, we're out of the berth now, and I hopefully have some GoPro footage of that. That was a bit of a bugger. Got some interesting lenticular clouds here. Let me show you. Sitting over the mountaintops there. Very interesting. Got a nice sunrise, as you can see. And I have to say that it is quite a pain to put up the sails and make sure everything is reefed properly with one person on board. Whew. I forgot. It's very nice having my crew. Crew, come back. You're forgiven. What a day for a sail. Beam reaching at about 15 knots with nice smooth seas, and we're running down toward Matharon. Gorgeous. This turned out to be a phenomenal day made up of 3 parts. Great winds, then no winds, and then lovely winds again as I got around the cape. I was able to sail right into the anchorage, which is protected from these northeasterlies, and with the right winds, this anchorage is idyllic. There were NATO ships patrolling in the area, so I was checking where they were on AIS, but I was also keeping a Mark I eyeball watch on them, just to make sure I remained outside their working area. When we eventually ran out of wind, I got out the sextant to take some celestial navigation sights. I made sure that the sextant was zeroed in on the height of the sun mostly, set my watch, and then observing again, I bring the sun down just to kiss the horizon, check the time again, and based on the angle measured on the sextant and the time, we've got our position. Well, with a few calculations. I really like doing celestial navigation. It's incredibly elegant to be able to use the altitudes of celestial bodies, and then using a good sextant, some tables, and a watch, you can calculate your position on the Earth. By the way, if you've never read Sextant by David Barry, it's a really cool overview of how the sextant was developed and used to map the world we know. It's not as dry and boring as you might think. And no, I'm not sponsored by the book publisher either. Darn it. As we talked about last season, Matheron has been inhabited since at least 1 million BCE, and in fact, so many civilizations have lived in this area that it's essentially a layer cake of history. What an awesome place to explore. Of course, one of my favorite facts is that this is where the Romans apparently made their, highly prized fermented fish paste. I think that's something even Homer Simpson wouldn't eat.
Two boats, it's a race. All the way are very similar. Sail plans very similar. I think I'm going to be struggling to catch him. I'm going to throw a tack in here in a minute because I think I can get around that other, the buoy that marks the north end of the fish area. Here we go.
I can use the autopilot to automatically tack me through 90 degrees here, and that way I don't have to touch the wheel and I can handle the Genoa sheet. So I release the one Genoa sheet as we come into the wind, and the pressure drops on it. So there we go, and as we come through the wind, I'll haul it in on the other side, and
winch it in so it's nice and tight. The mainsail and main sheet come to the other side of the track as we come through the wind, and the pressure of the wind pushes the mainsail to the other side. So that's quite easy. A lot of boats nowadays have self-tacking jibs, which is a similar arrangement where the jib will just slide along a track and you don't really have to haul it in or anything like that. Very nice, except you don't get as much genoa or jib sail area, so you give up a little bit of performance in certain conditions with that. And Calypso's a little bit older boat now, and she has this larger genoa, which I am quite happy for when I'm running downwind.
Nice tack. Okay, all anchored. And how beautiful is this? This is where we were last year. I need to dive on the anchor to make sure it's bedded. And I want to take a look at the prop and the hull. But all in all, looks pretty good.
Join us next week as we explore the anchorage and then head back to Cartagena. But, ominous foreshadowing, we might change our minds and just keep sailing.